Hey everyone, welcome to Supercy. My name is Percy Jules, and today I just wanted to do a product review of a product that has actually been around for quite a while now, but I still wanted to talk about it a little bit because I know it has helped me a lot, and I think it's really worth taking a look at least. It is a little tool that can be very useful for anyone who's mixing music, and especially for those of us who are mixing in a home studio environment. I'm talking about the VRM Box by Focusrite. Now, what does it do? Now, as every producer knows, when you're mixing music on one set of monitors in one particular room, eventually this mix may sound perfect to you. But when you take that same perfect mix to your car and listen to it on your car speakers or listen to it on your computer monitors in your living room, then that same mix may all of a sudden not sound all that perfect anymore. And the reason for that is twofold. One, you're listening to the same mix, but you're listening on different speakers. And two, you're listening in different rooms. And both have a major influence on how the mix seems to sound. And that is why in practically every professional studio you will find not just one set of monitors, but multiple pairs. So whoever is mixing in that studio can reference his or her mixes on different monitors. There is a reason why the really good professional mixes, like some of the songs you hear on the radio for instance, sound good on practically any speaker set. That's first of all, of course, because they've been mixed by really good producers, but really good producers also know that even they need to reference their mixes to make them sound good everywhere. Now, if you're a home studio owner and you want to be able to reference your mixes, but you only have one set of monitors, you could of course decide to buy a second set, or maybe a third, and maybe a fourth. But that can be very expensive, and of course, not everyone has the financial resources to just go out and do that. Not to mention that the room you are mixing in may not be perfectly acoustically treated, so that room then also has its own particular sound, so to speak, which makes it that much more difficult to get a good neutral mix. Now, a cheap alternative would be to burn your mix on a CD or download it onto a USB drive or something. Then take that with you to the living room and to your car and to a friend's house and just listen to it on as many different devices and in as many different environments as you can. Then write down everything you think still needs to be changed, go back to your DAW, make the changes and keep on doing that until your mix sounds good everywhere. Now, this is a valid alternative. It's actually still being done like this, but obviously it isn't ideal to have to do this after every time you make a change to your mix. You can still do this, but preferably only after you've finished your mix, just to give it a final check. Now, the VRM Box is offering yet another alternative, which I think is very good and is very affordable too. I believe in the US you can get it for around $100. In the UK it's about £49, and in Europe it's around 86 euros, if I'm not mistaken. Now, what you'll get is a piece of software and a little box which is actually a headphone interface. By the way, you need a pair of headphones to use it. Now, you can just connect it to your computer via USB, it has a USB connection. But also, if you have an audio interface with an SPDIF output, you can connect it directly with your audio interface. Now, VRM stands for Virtual Reference Monitoring, and that is exactly what it is. What the software does is it emulates 3 different environments, so a professional studio environment, a bedroom environment, and a living room environment. And in any of those virtual rooms, there are several different virtual speakers to choose from, which the VRM Box also emulates. And that gives you the possibility to reference your mixes in different environments and with different speakers without having to buy thousands of dollars or euros or pounds worth of speakers, and without having to burn any CDs to take your mixes with you around the world. So for instance, if you would like to hear what your mix would sound like in a professional studio on KRK VXT8 speakers, you can just switch to VRM Box, go to the professional studio environment and just choose those speakers. Or if you want to know how it'll sound like on a flat screen TV in a living room, for instance, just switch and voila. Now, will it sound exactly like it would if you were actually in a professional studio listening with the actual speakers the VRM is trying to emulate? No, it will not. That would not be a realistic expectation, especially for that price. But you know what? You don't need it to be an absolutely perfect emulation. I mean, it does a pretty good job at emulating the different situations. It will really give you a pretty good idea of how your mix will sound in those situations. It won't be a perfect copy of the situation, but that has never been the objective of this product. What it's trying to do is give you an idea of what your mix will sound like in a different room and on different speakers. And what that will do is it will reveal to you a lot of problems, so to speak, in your mix. You will notice things that you didn't hear before. All of a sudden you will notice that there is too much low end in your mix. Or maybe you'll notice that your mix sounds a bit too harsh, or that a particular instrument is too loud or something. Now personally, I think that maybe the best thing about the VRM Box is the ability it gives you to switch between situations. Because yes, of course it's great to have a tool that emulates different situations so that you can kind of preview your mix in different environments and on different speakers. But I think the ability to switch between those situations, so the switching itself, can be very, very helpful if you're mixing music. Because anyone that has any experience with creating music, and especially with something like mixing, knows that if you hear a song for the first time, your senses will pick up everything. And you will immediately hear that, for instance, the guitar is too loud, or there is too much high end in the mix. Those things will be easy to notice when you listen to it for the first time. But when you listen to that same song over and over again, eventually you will somehow lose the ability to notice those things. You get used to the mix and somehow that causes you to no longer notice these things. Now, don't ask me exactly why that is, I just know that that is how the human brain works. Intellectually, you will still know that the guitar is too loud, but you will no longer have the direct experience of the guitar being too loud. Now, when that starts to happen, you will no longer be able to trust yourself fully to make the right mixing decisions. Now, one of the things you can do to refresh your brain, so to speak, is to just walk away from it. Just don't touch it for, I don't know, at least an hour or so. Just go do something else. And when you come back to your mix again, your brain will be kind of reset. Your mix will sound almost like new and you will be able to notice some things again. Like the guitar being too loud, for instance. The great thing about the VRM Box is that you will get kind of the same effect by just switching from one situation to another. Because if you switch situations, that means that your brain again will have to adjust to that new situation. And the effect will be similar to if you don't listen to your mix for a while and then come back. Your mix will sound fresh again. So, as I mentioned before, this little piece of equipment has helped me a lot with some of my mixes since I got it. And so from my own personal experience, I can say that it can really help to get better at mixing music. Now again, don't expect it to create an absolutely perfect emulation of the thousands of euros or pounds or dollars worth of equipment it's trying to emulate, but if you're looking for a good and very affordable alternative for referencing your mixes, I believe that this is a very good option. So, that's it for now. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching and I'll talk to you soon.